Hey guys, welcome to our next training. Okay, so this is part two of a three-part series offering to men who want some help getting rid of doubts and regarding their masculinity. Okay, so today we're going to uncover why what you are being taught regarding masculinity is a lie and the solutions provided are completely useless for a conducive society. Okay, so what we're being taught, what we're being fed today in society is completely useless for a conducive society, for society to work well together. Okay, I have three main points that I want to focus on in this training, and yeah, comment, give me your feedback, let me know what you think. If you think I'm wrong, let me know too, but be vocal about it. Let me drop these points and I want to hear from you what is your opinion and what have you experienced in your time when it comes to masculinity and doubts regarding your masculinity. Okay, so it brings us to point number one. Point number one is masculinity is toxic. Masculinity is toxic. See, I'm using the quotation marks there because I don't believe it's toxic. I believe we need masculinity. It's a fundamental requirement for the success of the nation, the world, and more importantly, in the family home. It is a clear requirement that's needed, that has to be there for anything to be, for society to be better, to be built up. And what I'm hearing a lot today and on a regular basis now is, especially in the modern world, in America, the UK, modern women are thinking, and people say it's feminism. I don't agree that it's feminism. I maybe have thought about it in the past, but now that I start to think about it more, it makes me think that actually no, these aren't real feminists. They believe they are, but they've pushed past the point of feminism. They've gone to this next level of where we don't need men. We don't need men. Or what are they for? What do we use them for? And if we even break it down to the most basic of things, and obviously we need men for a lot more than those basic things, but if we broke it down to the basics, it's like men built society. They built society, and you can't deny it. It's everywhere. It's like when you come to the vehicles you drive, the planes you're flying in, the buildings you're in, 99.9% of the men working on those the engineers working on those vehicles, the constructors building those properties are men. 99.9% of them. They're building society, physically, literally building society. When you say you don't need them, you can sit comfortably and say you don't need them because they've built a society where you feel safe and comfortable and privileged to say that now. But before, if the men weren't building these things, if they weren't building air conditioning in your nice building, in your nice flat, if they weren't preparing these things and creating these things, you would really struggle in life. You would really struggle in life. If you brought it down to the very basics, that's the basics. And that's to be clear. But when it comes to masculinity in the family home, when it comes to the masculinity in the relationships, it has to be there. It has to be there, especially for young men, young boys to grow and to be strong and to be fearless and to be better. They need to have a strong degree of masculinity or an understanding of it and how to be their ultimate man in situations. And I see today, and it's getting worse and worse, that more people are focusing on their weaknesses and finding ways to not be offended, finding ways to take out the ways of being offended, or finding ways to accuse people who bring out their weaknesses rather than becoming stronger, rather than building themselves up and being stronger and being able to face things, being able to take it on the chin, to take feedback, to take criticism, to take disagreement. And instead of being able to take it and becoming stronger and facing it, we're going into this weak, emasculated society where, oh, you can't say that. How dare you speak to me in that way? How can you say that? You don't know me. You've not lived my life. You can't bring your opinion that way. You can't do that to me. That's not correct. That's not right. And I've seen it, and it's becoming stronger and more vocal. And it's sad because we are not built on that. We're not built on those simple foundations. It needs to be a society where there's masculine men leading who create a strong foundation, a strong infrastructure for society. And also there's a great strong place for women. So we've got the feminine and the masculine working together to build society to be the best possible place it can be. And that point is a perfect place for scripture. I want to bring a scripture in on this. So Genesis 2:24 says, "Therefore a man shall leave his father and his mother and hold fast to his wife, and they shall become one flesh." Okay, so not two separate individuals, not two people trying to dominate each other or be better than the other. So two come together, they see each other's weaknesses, they see each other's strengths, and they make it work together as one. Exactly what it is explaining. So if more people focus on that kind of mindset of saying, oh, well, it's not men against women, or women don't need men, men don't need women. No, we need each other, but we both have strengths. We both have skills that are different. We both have things that are separate. And if we put them together, we can create something great, and we can build society on that. For example, my wife is more caring, more nurturing, more loving. She can bring so much more softness and sweetness into the relationship, into the marriage, into the family for my son, whereas I'm just naturally not like that. I don't have that ability. It takes time for me to be sweet and soft and go into that kind of way. So obviously I can take charge of the more masculine things. I can take charge of providing, putting a roof over my head and protecting the family, whereas my wife is more focused on creating a home, creating a house, and bringing love and happiness and peace into that home, whereas I can help bring the infrastructure and the strength and the power to allow that relationship to move forward and that family to move forward in the best possible way. And that brings us to point number two. So men will always be the protectors. Men will always be the protectors, okay? Again, doesn't mean we have to be in a war zone, but for example, no matter what happens, no matter what goes down, it's like men will always be the main quantity of people in a military force. Will always have to have a majority of men. It will just have to be the way, because we are stronger, physically stronger. Doesn't mean we're better, but we just are capable. We're more capable, we're more stronger to defend ourselves, defend our country, and use our physical abilities to be successful in these areas. And again, that can be a very controversial thing. You can't say men are stronger and better than women in these areas. It doesn't matter. In the home, if someone breaks into my house, I'm not going to sit there and say, oh no, my wife has equal rights, she can take care of this now, she can take care of the intruder. Never under my life that will ever happen. Never. It will never happen. I will step up and I will be the one to defend my family in that situation. I will step up and I will be the one to make sure I'm in between my family and the intruder, whoever's in my house at that time. Same with any situation. And the main thing is, again, people don't want to talk about that today. Again, it's another thing of where weakness is being defended, and you can't stand up and be strong and speak facts, speak reality. And this is, again, not saying women can't defend themselves, women can't fight, but a very clear point I heard the other day, and it's true. It doesn't matter what you say, it's true. It's like there are many women out there who are trained, who can defeat many men. They can beat many men, and I've seen it firsthand in martial arts. Women who are well trained, they can beat many men in a situation, in a fight. But a well-trained man can beat any woman. A well-trained man will beat any woman in a fight. It's that simple. 1-to-1, if he's well-trained, there's no woman that can overpower him. Whereas a well-trained woman can beat many untrained men, but if she's up against a matched man or a man who's more trained than her, it won't matter. She won't be able to compete. Or a woman who's not trained in anything, she'll really struggle, simply because of genetics and how it is set. If you're ignoring that, and if you don't believe that, well, you're lying to yourself. You're ignoring centuries and centuries of how society has been set up and how it's worked from that. Just the strength of men being in war and fighting and all those areas. So if you want men to provide and be the better source, the protectors, the men who will provide and do great things in society like they've done for centuries, you need to allow them to flourish. Don't break them down and say, no, you can't do this, you can't defend, you can't be a man anymore, you can't be in your masculine, it's toxic. Remove that mindset and focus on actually, no, men do have a lot to offer. They do provide a lot to offer. So don't believe in this rubbish that you're seeing out now, that men aren't enough, they can't do these things anymore. Being masculine is toxic. It's fake, it's not real. So don't believe it for a second. Okay, which moves us on to our final point, which is kind of what I touched on already a little bit. But men should be sweet and soft. Men should be sweet and soft. There's a time and a place, okay? And I see on the movies, on television, or wherever it is, women are always saying men should be soft, they should be sweet, they should be the nice guy, the nice guy. And because of that, men have followed that, they believed it, and they're left in a place where nobody wants them, no one wants to be with them, they can't get the relationship they want, and they're deeply insecure or going forward in life. They don't have any confidence in themselves anymore. And what the issue is, well, for myself personally, I would take care of what needs to be done in the home, and I would take care of what needs to be done to keep my family progressing forward in the best way. Okay, it's never going to be a case where I should never be in a situation where, oh well, I'll relax today, my wife can take charge of bringing in the finances, protecting the home. So no, there's always going to be a fundamental role for me, is to protect my household, to make sure there's food on the table, to make sure that we're all doing well, we're all surviving, the family is moving in a healthy way. If that doesn't exist, if that's not happening, then I'm not doing my job. I'm not doing my job. I'm not doing my role. Okay? And when people are constantly saying, well, men need to be soft, they need to show their soft side and be emotional and talk, it's like, yeah, you can have a side to you. It's like, you're not a robot. I'm not Robocop. I don't be serious with my wife 24/7. But there's a time and a place. There's a time when I can show love. There's a time when I can be sweet. There's a time when I can be caring. But I need to make sure that I've put everything else in place first. Everything is working smoothly. Everything is on the right path. And I think that's what's really messing with men's minds today, where they're not in that position where they're on their purpose. They're going for what needs to be. They're not doing what needs to be done. They're not taking charge of their life, and they're not taking charge of what needs to be taken charge of. They're allowing society to manipulate them. They're spending too much time delving into watching videos, social media, living this effeminate life, not actually taking on challenge anymore, not going for things that they need to go for. So my main message today regarding this specific subject is, don't fall into that trap of believing that your masculine is toxic, believing that challenge and going for things is something of the past. We don't need to do it anymore. We don't need to be challenging or fighting or being stronger or building ourselves. It's a lie. It's not true. You need to continue to better yourself, to be the strongest version of yourself in your health, in your fitness, in your career, in your lifestyle, in your faith. Otherwise, you're going to be left behind and you're not going to bring anything good to society. Okay, so that's the main thing that I need people that are meant to understand going forward. You are required, you're needed. Masculinity is something that is a vital component of a successful society. Okay, so it needs to be added. Right, so like I said, I want to know your opinion. I want to know what you believe when it comes to this. And yeah, drop comments below, and I guess let me know what you've tried in order to get rid of doubts when it comes to your masculinity, or what you've seen work or what hasn't worked in the past, or what you hear maybe on social media and things like that are affecting you when it comes to being the ultimate man, or someone who completely embodies their masculinity. Okay, thank you for checking it out, and yeah, I guess I'll speak soon.